we will be studying about the system calls. So we'll try to understand what is the definition of system call and how it is going to be used in operating system. So system calls provides an interface to the services that are available by the operating system. So what do you mean by system call? System calls provides an interface to the services that are available by the operating system. So already in last video we have studied the services of operating system. So before trying to understand the system calls in more detail, so there are two important things we need to know, which is there are two modes in which a program can execute. Means what? A program can execute in a two modes. So which are those modes? One is user mode and the kernel mode. So now what is user mode? So if a program is executing in the user mode, then that program does not have the direct access to the memory or to the hardware or to any resources of computer. So what is user mode? When the program is executing in the user mode, it cannot have the direct access to the memory resource or to the hardware resource or any of the resources of our computer. But if a program is executing in the kernel mode, that program has the direct access to the memory resource, or it may be a hardware resource, or you can say any computer resource. So we say that if a program is executing in its kernel mode, then it is in privileged mode because it is having the direct access to the many of the resources of our computer. But when a program is executing in kernel mode, and if that program may crashes, okay, during its execution, then the entire system, then the entire not system then the entire program may crash, or system or the whole computer may halt is nothing but the CPU stops the all the current activities. Okay, so this is one of the problem in the kernel mode, you can say. But if a program is executing in its user mode, as I told, it cannot have the direct access of any resources of our computer. So whenever the program is executing in its user mode, a program may crash. Okay, here the whole system is not going to be halt. So only that execution or only that particular or that specific program is going to be crash, or it is going to be halt. So hence the user mode is called as the safer mode. So hence most of the programs executes in the user mode, you can say. So as I told, whenever the program is executing in its user mode, it does not have the direct access to the resources of our computer. So how it is going to execute or how it is going to complete its specific task, you can say. So when the program needs to access the memory or the any type of hardware resources, it makes a certain call. That call is nothing but the system call to a operating system. It means what I'm telling here is I need to access certain resources, so it makes a system call. And when it makes that system call, what happens is for an execution, the program is to be switched from user mode to kernel mode. So why it has to be switched from user to kernel mode? Because in user mode we cannot access the resources directly. Okay, so only in kernel mode we can access the resources like memory or the any hardware resources only in a kernel mode. So hence it is necessary to shift from user mode to kernel mode, you can say. So even after after accessing the resources from kernel mode, again it has to come back to the its user mode. Okay, so when the program makes a system call to operating system saying that it needs certain resources, a mode shift is going to happen, that is nothing but user to kernel and vice versa. System call is nothing but the routines or functions, you can say. System call is the programmatic way in which a computer program requests a service from the kernel of the operating system. So the system calls are generally available as routines written in C and C++. After acquiring the input file name and writing prompt to screen and accepting the input by the user, so next three important system calls are acquiring the output file name and write prompt to screen and accepting the input here. So acquiring the output file name means after reading the data of source file where you want to save that data. For that once again we need the file name. Okay, means whatever we are copying the data of source file, we are copying or we are once again saving or we are going to store in the one of the destination file. So for that destination file, what name you are going to specify for that file? So once again the user has to mention here the file name. So this is nothing but the acquiring the output file name. So next, write prompt to screen, again displaying the certain files on your monitor, asking the user that please enter the file name. Okay, once again we are going to display the certain not browse here, we are going to display the certain dialog box on your monitor telling to user that you have to please enter the file name of our output, that is nothing but the destination file. So after displaying the this prompting on a screen, we have to go to the accepting the input. So again, as I told in last year, again accepting the input means, so whatever the user has specified the file name for the destination file, once again the system is going to accept here the file name. Okay, so now after getting the both source file and the destination file, that is input file and the output file name, now we have to open the input file. So why we need to open that file? Because we have to first read that file. Okay, so here there is one possibility that whatever the user has specified the file name of source file, if that file does not exist, I need to terminate here. Okay, because we are copying the certain data of already existing file. So if we have mentioned the file which is not existing in our system, so in that case it is going to throw some questions like we have in such case situation we have to terminate or say an abort here. Okay, so now create the output file or create out file we have written here. So if file exists, we have to say here the abort. So why? Because the destination file, whatever the user has mentioned here, so whatever the destination file has been mentioned by the user, the file should exist. If file exists, we have to terminate here, because the destination file whatever we are giving here, it should be a new file name. We cannot give here the already existing file name. So hence it is going, if the file exists, whatever the destination file name has been given by the user, it should not be existed already in our system. Means we have to give the new name here which does not exist in our system. Okay, so if already file name is existing in our system, in that case we have to terminate, or you can say here abort. So now say everything is fine. Okay, means if the source file which has been mentioned by the user which is already existed, okay, and the file name which is given for the destination file, it should be a new. Okay, so this is the important thing. So after this much we are reading the data of input file. Okay, so whatever we are going to read the data of source file, we need to copy it to the file. That is nothing but the writing to output file. So how many times or for how many period it is going to read it, so until it reaches to the end of file. So that I have written here as a until read fails. So when the read is going to fail, when the in source file until it reaches to the end of file or end of line, you can say. So after reading this much, we have to close the output file here. Okay, so why we need to close the output file? So whenever we are reading the input file of our source file, so when it's from beginning to end of file, it has already read and already it has been copied from source to destination. So once it reaches to end of file, we need to stop reading and we need to stop copying the file. So here we need to close the output file. Okay, so after copying successfully to the destination file, we have to display the some message on screen that we have copied the contents of source file to destination file successfully. So now we have to terminate here the our process normally. So this is how the system calls are going to work. So these are the some examples of sequence of system calls, you can say. So next video I will explain the types of system calls. Thank you.